Hey everybody, welcome to the very first episode of the Dummy Head podcast. I am your host, the ghost from the podcast past, James LaFountain. This is the very first episode. Actually, it's take 2 of the very first episode. I just recorded an hour of what I thought was going to be the first podcast, but the audio was fucking trash. I was using a different mic, and somehow it was recording the audio from the webcam and the audio from my mic. So, switched mics, fixed that all up. But yeah, let's get into it. Like I said, I'm James LaFountain. Many of you, or whoever's listening, may or may not know who I am. I am 31 years old, just turned 31 in July. I live in Kalispell, Montana. Lived in Montana basically my whole life. And yeah, I just wanted to start a podcast because in the future, everyone is going to have a podcast, so I might as well start mine now. So, this is it. It's going to be pretty raw. This is my setup. I just got this mic, got that camera, just a crappy little Logitech webcam. I feel like the video doesn't have to be that great as long as the audio is good. I was almost going to call it for the last one that I just recorded, but the audio was terrible. It wasn't only bad, it was 2 different audio sources, so it was like this weird echo. So yeah, hopefully this is better. I just did some tests, it sounded pretty good. But yeah, this is just going to be me talking. I just started this channel today for the YouTube. I plan to put it out on all the podcast platforms. And I'm going to be building it up and kind of putting more effort into it as far as the production value. And after a while, hopefully there's going to be some recurring segments, recurring guests, other different guests. But this is just number 1. This is the baby seed that I'm planting. And I wanted to call it the Dummy Head podcast because what a dummy head is you. No. A dummy head is an actual thing. It's a piece of equipment. It's a microphone, basically, but it's in the shape of like a mannequin head, and it's used for recording like 3D audio, like spatial audio, and it's like a dummy head, but inside of each ear is a microphone. So when you listen to it, it sounds the way it would sound with ears, so I thought it was a cool name, kind of, and like just a cool concept. The profile picture, the logo or whatever that I got is basically just one of the mics, one of the dummy head mics that I came across online, and I thought it looked really cool because, excuse me, because it kind of looked like some like Alex Gray type stuff. He's always got those like faces that kind of have faces all the way around, and this one it had like the faces going around, but it had ears where the eyes were. So I thought that was cool because podcasts are for me, I mostly listen to podcasts. I'll throw them on my TV and stuff while I'm doing stuff at home. But I listen to podcasts while I work and while I drive and stuff if I'm going on a long road trip. So it's mostly, audio medium. And I just thought it was cool. There is one other dummy. There's a bunch of different dummy head YouTube channels, but there is one that they have a podcast as well. And I've always had kind of a difficult time naming things. And when I came across Dummy Head, I thought it was perfect. Like, I didn't steal it from anybody. Like, I'll usually, what will happen when I try to come up with names for like projects or maybe my artist name is I'll have an idea or I'll come across something from somewhere else, and then I'll go and look it up, and if it's taken, I won't use it. So this time I came across one of those dummy head pieces of equipment, and I thought that would be a cool name for a podcast because it's easy to remember and it's kind of not that serious, But I looked this one up, and it was taken, but their last episode was like 4 months ago or something. And I'm just gonna run with it. I don't really care anymore. I've spent way too much time just trying to think of names, and the name doesn't really matter so much. But it's gonna be something I'm committed to, and I won't have 4 months in between episodes. That's right. I'm calling you out, Dummy Head Podcast. Yeah. So this is episode number 1. It's just going to be me by myself. I don't really have anything planned out as far as what I'm going to talk about. Like I said, I just recorded one that was an hour long, and I'm not going to put that out because the audio is terrible. And I mean, some of the things I was talking about is basically just talking about why I'm doing this, and just a little bit about myself. I'm not the most talkative person unless it's kind of like a one-on-one thing. I love having conversations with people, and podcasts are like that. It's all about the conversation, and in a group setting, I'm not going to be the one that's talking the most. I'll for sure have things to say, but some people can talk and talk and talk, and they love hearing their own voice. I'm not really that type of person. I'll just listen. And sorry, I keep having to clear my throat. So yeah, I think this will be a good opportunity for me to, get better at talking to the camera. And maybe for those people who are interested, they could get a little bit of better understanding of me. And I'm just gonna put myself out there on this podcast, and I'm an honest person. I don't mind sharing about myself. Excuse me. And the stuff that I've been through, and just where I'm at in life. I'll talk about it all, but I don't want it to be all about me. It's just about the stuff that I'm interested in, and this is my little corner of the internet. Like I said, pretty much, like so many people have podcasts these days, and I thought, why not? I've been wanting to start a podcast for a long time. Couple of reasons I haven't started one. Um, it's just, it's hard to, it's kind of hard to see. Well, it's just sometimes you might think that it's corny or cheesy, or, like the things you have to say aren't worth listening to. But that's not really up to me to decide. So I'm just gonna put it out there, and see where it goes. And it's fun. I have been doing the Crossroads podcast with buddy Jake Ryan. And let's see, we just did one yesterday. It was number 65. And that has been good. Me and Jake have been friends for 15 years, and we've always had conversations like that. We'll talk on the phone for hours. I mean, I think the longest conversation, I'm pretty sure we've had conversations where we stayed up all night talking, and they're not always like that. We'll at least talk, half an hour to an hour on the phone, and that's just regular. But the podcast is pretty much just like that. We'll get into some pretty wacky topics, and just, man, I keep having to clear my throat. I think it's all this smoke in the air. But yeah, we'll just talk about anything and everything, and those are my favorite types of podcasts, where it just feels like you're just hanging out, and I'm just hanging out right now. I got nothing to do. It's Sunday. Tomorrow's Labor Day. It had been my plan to start this channel. Like I said, I've been thinking about it for a long time. But just recently I decided, like, hey, I'm going to do it. And so this morning, woke up, made the channel for the YouTube. I went and made all the profile picture and the banner, the watermark, and I just, like I said, just recorded an hour-long podcast. I sat there for an hour and just talked, and my voice is getting kind of raw, and I'm having to clear my throat. But so I'm redoing it because I want this to be listenable, and I want it to be watchable for the YouTube. And so this hopefully will progress, and I'm going to be putting some actual effort into it. And I plan to have like segments of, like, just the things that I'm interested in. I'm interested in all types of things, and I'd like to have interesting people on, and maybe just normal people that are interested in stuff. And yeah, I just like to keep this going. Hopefully once or twice a week, I can sit down and just share my thoughts, share where I'm at in life. So yeah, like I said, I'm 31 years old. I've been doing music somewhat off and on for about, 4 or 5 years. And that's a lot more difficult than a podcast. I'm not trying to quit the music and start up a podcast. I'd like to do both. But just with my job and how much I'm working, I'm tired all the time, and then I got stuff to do, adulting on my off time. So this is something that's easy, and I think it'll give me a chance to improve my speaking skills. Just talking to a camera. It's weird just looking into one camera lens and talking like you're talking to somebody, but hopefully there's someone out there. Yeah, well, like the ghost from the podcast past is I was just thinking about how you could always look back on these, and maybe one day I'll look back on this video and be like, dang, that was bad. You should hear the first one that I recorded, because that was bad. I mean, not like the what I was saying and stuff, but the audio is just terrible. And it's gonna be an adventure, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how far it will go. I always, it's cool to see these other podcasts, and especially if you start out from the beginning, it's cool to see episode 100 and 200 and 1,000, and Joe Rogan might be the most in the world. He's at like 2,100 or something. And some of these podcasts, especially these days, where podcasts are more prevalent and people take it more seriously as an actual, like, a legit form of entertainment. People will start out with the whole studio and a whole setup, and they got their broadcast mics and their desks and multiple cameras and producers, and but with the Joe Rogan podcast, you go back and look at the very first one, and it's pretty, I mean, whatever you might think about Joe Rogan, it's pretty amazing to see how far that podcast has come. I mean, it's the number one podcast in the world, and he just had that $100 million deal, and then besides that, the brand deals and the advertisements and stuff, like, he's making money, and it's cool to see something like that started out with just a couple guys, on a couch, turn into something so big. And it's not even about the money, although money's always great if you need it, but just to see something grow. And as a listener, it's cool to be a part of something that is growing, and I think that's one of the cool things about the internet, and different YouTubers and vloggers and streamers and all that. It's it kind of feels like you're a part of something when it's coming out every week. You have something to look forward to, but you're also along for the ride. I accidentally hit the space button on my keyboard, which ended the recording, so I'm going to set my keyboard up here. Yeah, like, you're a part of it, and I hope to make this into something where people can be a part of it, and I don't have any idea of where it's going to go. I just want to do it. I just know if you put effort into something and you really care, you can make anything really grow, And with the music, like I said, I've been doing it off and on because I just, I would take breaks, and it's a lot for me, it was a lot harder because I was always doing it myself, like 100% by myself. Um, I started out playing guitar in middle school. We had a music class, and it was just a normal music class, learning about whatever notes and all that shit. But there was a section of the music class where we took guitar, and I just never stopped playing guitar. So I've been playing guitar forever, and I'm not amazing at it, but I love it. And that was what showed me that if you practice something and get better at it, it can be a lot more enjoyable. And, so that was when I got into music, and I always wanted to write stuff and make songs. Like, that was it. I just wanted to make good songs. And, I'm not the best singer or the best songwriter, but it was always really satisfying just to create something from scratch. And so I prided myself on that for the longest time, just making music by myself. And so I would do that. I got into producing music, and the guitar really, really helped with that, because I could never play piano or anything like that, play the keys. But, I would write something on the guitar, and then I would take it note for note and then punch it in the computer. Like, I wouldn't record the guitar. I would just like write a little melody on the guitar, and then I would transfer that into the program, and then I would just scroll through all the different instruments until I found something that was cool. And that really got me into producing. And so, I would produce beats, and I really got into it, and I started to take it serious, and was trying to learn as much as I could. And, I eventually started trying to do vocal stuff on top of it. And with the help of just, the recording program and all the different effects, and just the ability to spend as much time as it took, to make something that I liked. It was a lot different than just playing guitar and trying to write something on guitar. Because like I said, I'm not the best singer, and I'm not the best songwriter. So I was never able to just sit down with my guitar and singing and in a notepad and just make something that I liked. So with the computer, I could do that. Like, I could mess around for hours, and then eventually it'd be something that I liked. It wasn't, maybe no one else liked it, but I liked it. And so I just kept doing it, and hours and hours and hours and hours in the studio. But it was just by myself. And like I said, I took pride in that. And, like I would make my own beats, and I would write my own lyrics, and I would record myself, and I would mix it myself. And, I'd do my own cover art and get my own CDs printed up, and, do my own graphic design. And it just felt cool that I could do all that myself, and it was even somewhat listenable, But after a while, you do want to start working with other people, and it's so hard sometimes when you're making music, because some people just get it right away for whatever reason. That was something that I really had to try at. Like, I'm a pretty quick learner, I feel like, and I've always been into, like, there's a artistry streak in my family and in my blood. Um, so I grew up drawing. Like ever since I was a tiny kid, I would draw stuff, and I was good at it. Like that's something I never really had to try, just to be like somewhat good. And music was different though. I really, really had to try, and it was just like foreign to me, but I loved it. And just the power of music is so amazing, that it just kept me going, and I kept, progressing and wanting to learn more. But it's difficult sometimes because you spend so much time on something, and it doesn't come out the way you want. you know it can be frustrating, and then it becomes it can become work at times when you're trying for something, and you get frustrated and you're not really having fun, you know. And so I'm not saying that, like, I'm quitting music or anything like that, but I'm just trying to find a different way to to look at it, and I think doing it all by yourself, um, you have to spend a lot more time getting better at all these different types of things. And yeah, I didn't really plan on talking about, you know, um, my musical path and all that, but that was just something that I've done for the past, handful of years, and I still have all this stuff, like I'll never stop making music. I just want to have fun with it. So I'm kind of in that point right now, like I'm in a sabbatical kind of with it, because I'm not going to force it, and there's going to be a time where, I think it takes a team, especially these days, and I just haven't found that team, so I'm not going to force it, and I'm not gonna waste that creative energy. Um, so I'm kind of saving it up, and breaks are always good, because you have to go and live life. You can't just spend your whole life in the studio, and because what experiences are you gonna share? Most people don't make music, and most people don't know uh, what it's like to be in a studio for hours and hours and hours. And if that's all you do, how are you going to relate to people? And that's the best thing about any art, really, is connecting. Some of my favorite artists is like, you feel that connection, and you feel their talent and their ability to connect and express themselves in a really effective way. And I guess that's kind of what it was for me with music, was like, I feel like everybody kind of has a lot of the same experiences and frustrations and feelings and stuff. And when you're not able to communicate that effectively, it can be disappointing, because it feels like you're not validated, or maybe someone else who is having the same experience and they're able to connect with people on it, you might think, why them and not me, and that's not a good way to think. So I'm kind of done stressing over all that stuff, and music is such a beautiful thing that I think it requires you to kind of let go of all that stuff. And yeah, so I love music, and I'll never quit, and though that is my main goal in life. I want to produce, I want to produce music, and um, I just want to work with people, and I want to have a team where we all can, take care of ourselves and our families, and not have to work for somebody else, and not be tired all the time, not be working 50 hours a week, and have no time to just enjoy life, because life is short, man. And if all you're doing is working, you know, it's you got to do it, but I think there's smarter ways to live. And if you're smart, I think you can find a way to do something where you can make money and take care of yourself and take care of your family that isn't killing you. And I work construction, and it breaks you down, man. It breaks your body down. And depending on what you want to do with it, like if you want to move up, there's some people that are super smart, and they do move up and they get into a position where they're not breaking their back anymore. But there are people that labor for 20 years and their body's just broken. Like, you only get one body, and if you're 50 years old and you're just in constant pain and you can't move anymore, like, is that really worth it? I don't think so. I'm I'm a fairly like health conscious person, and I know how important health is. And I don't think it's worth it, when I'm young, like, I'm not even that old really, but I'm starting to feel it, my body is feeling it. And I think there's a lot of benefits to it too. Like, I love working, and I love being physical. I love like building shit, and lifting heavy shit and getting shit done, just doing man shit, But when it's 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and all you're doing on the weekends is basically recovering and preparing for the next week, and then the stuff that you have to do, just daily responsibilities and stuff, it's a lot, and we live in a crazy world right now. Prices are going up on everything, and rent is going up, and gas is going up, and it's hard, man. So if you're doing that, and just know that there is other ways, and it takes a team. Like, we got to come together as a team, like whoever you got around you that, and it's hard too, like living in Montana, it's we don't have like big cities here, and so people don't really think like that. They don't think about, oh, let's just start our own thing. It's kind of ingrained in you that you just get a job, and that's about it. The possibility of creating your own company or team or whatever, something where you can make money and, like I said, take care of yourself and your family. I think those people are far and few in between, and they are out there, but you just got to find them, and it's hard. But I have that goal, I have that aspiration. And so, with the podcast, this is just me just talking, I have no really specific ideas as where this is going to go or what type of podcast it's going to be. Um, I think it's mostly going to be kind of loose and just whatever, whatever, anything and everything, whatever's going on in my mind and whoever I'm happening to talk to. But, um, yeah, hopefully, this gives you a little bit of a glimpse of who I am and kind of, you know, just the way I think and stuff. Um, but I'm trying to have fun with it, and I want to get better at it. I want to get better at um, making the videos for the channel, and the just the clips. I'm probably gonna start maybe a separate clip channel or just doing shorts, whatever. I don't know, but I'm gonna be putting some effort into it, and hopefully it's something that provides value, and hopefully it provides some value to me as far as the people that I might talk to. And if you're watching this, leave a comment, let me know what you got from it, or if you got anything to add, or just if you want to see more, or if you don't want to see more, like it. I don't know if you can dislike anymore, but yeah, it's all up to you guys, how you want to participate, because it's not really going to change anything on my end. I'm just going to keep doing these, once or twice a week. So yeah. Um, yeah, I feel like some of the things that I will be talking about will be, a lot of music stuff. I follow a lot of, um, different musicians on Instagram and stuff, Twitter and YouTube. I would say YouTube is probably the one that I consume the most. Um, I'm kind of slowly phasing out of just the different social media platforms. I deleted my Facebook account about a year ago, I think, and I I'm happy about it. Like I don't miss it, and I don't want to go back. And kind of the same thing with Twitter and Instagram. Like, um, it's I find myself going on these things and scrolling when I'm not in the best like place in my head, and it doesn't always help. Sometimes it'll make it worse. And um so yeah, just not being on Facebook for a while, I actually feel good about that. And a lot of people will be like, well, I only really get on there to keep in touch with friends and family. um but do you really need to see all that? Like, do you need to see that? You can call them up on the phone. um if someone misses me, they can call me on the phone. Like, people have my number. It's not like I'm going off the grid or anything. It's just I'm not accessible on that one platform. And that is kind of one of my problems with the two, especially Facebook, because along with Facebook comes the Messenger app. And people have, I think people expect you to be accessible at all times these days. And, if they send you a message and you don't reply, then they're going to assume whatever. And I don't think that's good. You know, I think people have all different types of reasons that they're not going to be looking at their phone. And you should be happy about that. the same exact people that complain that people are addicted to their phones will get mad at you for not looking at your phone. And, most people are just a phone call away, and you can actually hear their voice and hear their tone of voice. And if they answer, they answer. And if they don't, they don't. And you're not gonna, it causes less problems. I think, whoever invented read receipts is just, I don't know why you would need that. I've been left on read a bunch, and sometimes I don't want to know that, like, if they don't reply in a couple days, few days or something, then it's obvious, like, they're not going to reply. But, if you send someone a message and you see that they have seen it, it's like, it's just, it's unnecessary. A lot of the internet is like that, and, it's possible to, what the hell? I don't know what that was. It's possible to have, a more healthy relationship with the internet itself, and you can choose who you follow and stuff. And you can, curate your feed to be more positive stuff. And it's weird because there are people that you want to follow, and maybe one day they're posting something that's just depressing or negative, and then that'll maybe that'll spread to you a little bit. Or just, do you really need to see that? Everybody has bad days, but do you have to share that with the world? I'm not saying I haven't done it. It's part of the reason why I got off of Facebook. The temptation to complain is, it's there for sure. Some people, and there's nothing wrong with, like, being honest about shit and venting and all that. But there's a time and a place, and I always likened it to, like, if there was like a community cork board or something, or like a town hall type thing, where you would, write a big old letter about how, John isn't picking up his dirty laundry or something, and you just go post it for the world to see. It's just kind of strange. And so, yeah, it's easy to unplug, and if it feels better, then I think you should do that. But I'm not here to convince anybody of everything. This is just my thoughts and what I've done. Yeah. And I'm not trying to limit myself either about what I talk about, because, like I said, I just spent an hour recording the first podcast, and I'm not necessarily trying to repeat anything that I said in the first one, because I'm just going off the cuff. But I'm just trying not to be too serious about it, and that's part of the reason why I called it the Dummy Head Podcast. And I would like people to have a little bit better understanding of me, just because, like I said, I'm not I'm not the most outspoken person, and I don't really go out of my way to just, I'm not like super energetic and rambunctious, and I'm kind of a quiet person most of the time. And a lot of people will assume that you're upset or mad or something, or depressed or whatever. Um, so, and I'm not, like I'm a, I'm a pretty optimistic person. I feel like I'm more optimistic than people that go around with a happy face on all the time, because I'll tell you, like, if you ask me how I'm doing, I'll tell you. I don't really care, but at the same time, I'm not gonna fake being happy, Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see who wants to, hop on and talk about their life, or what they're thinking about and stuff. Um, it might be 100 episodes before I get one subscriber, or you know, it might take off quick or whatever. Um, but I just want to have something that's consistent, and something where I can share, something that's not posting on Twitter or Facebook. And because it's easy to have something on your mind that's like something you really do care about, and you post it and nobody seems to care, and then so you're just over it. But when you're actually talking, I feel like that actually gets it out. So I'm just trying to get these thoughts out of my dummy head. And if you want to be a little dumb with me, then that's cool. You can subscribe, and you know look forward to the next episode as much as I do. I'd like to, speaking of music stuff, I'd like to do a little like intro jingle type stuff. I always thought that type of stuff was really fun. I've always wanted to do that. I think it's interesting how someone can write a jingle, even if it's like these little like audio logos, like the NBC, or any of those. It's like one note or two notes or something, and whoever wrote that, they get paid good money for that. And it just seems, you could write a whole album that's hours and hours and hours and hours of work, and then it goes nowhere. And everybody has different views on why they do art and who they do it for. Someone might make a whole album and not even put it out, and they're just happy to be creating. And that's not me. I've always wanted to share my stuff, and I always wanted, I want people to like it, because I like, I like being a part of something, and I like enjoying things along with a bunch of other people. And I feel like that community aspect is a big part of why people love music so much. Because no matter what, like, it could be the best music in the world, or what you consider to be the best music in the world. Say it's Kendrick Lamar. Like, say, you just come across a Kendrick Lamar song, and nobody else has ever heard it or heard of him. It's not going to have the same impact as how it does in reality, with him being, one of the biggest artists ever. And it's that community, and knowing that there's other people that get it too. And that's it, man. Like people just um, they want to know that you get it too, and hopefully, some of the things I'm talking about, um, it has that effect, and I'm just gonna keep doing it. Right now, I'm recording this on Streamlabs, which is like mostly for streaming on Twitch and stuff. There's probably an easier way to do it, but yeah, I'll be looking into just different setups, something, just whatever's easiest and makes for the most listenable and watchable podcast. Sorry if you're not into the minutia of podcast producing, but this is my very first one, and like I said, I'm just off the top talking about whatever. So yeah, what else? I was gonna watch that Nope last night. I was told it was on Hulu, but it's not. I think the only one it was on YouTube for $20, but I feel like $20 to rent a movie is a lot. Other than that, I haven't really been watching any TV show. Been watching a lot of YouTube. I've been watching a lot of kind of like video commentary type stuff. People breaking down just whatever they're interested in. I would like to do stuff like that. Just kind of little like mini documentaries or video essay type stuff on just anything. I feel like if you just pick something and research on it, and you could learn a lot about just something that most people don't really give a second thought. So this is the Dummy Head podcast. But I would like to do some actual production, something that's not even me, like something where it's just, like I said, like breaking down Facebook or Twitter, or maybe different musicians, or the history of the guitar, anything like that, really. I just like to be into, I'm interested in a lot of different things. Ever since I was a kid, I think the very, very first thing I wanted to be was like an animator, making cartoons. I remember being about I was young. I must have been around 5, and I was watching, there was something on TV, but it was just something like the news or something. And I say to my mom, I'm like, man, they can draw really good, because I thought everything was drawn, like everything was a cartoon. So yeah, I always wanted to be an animator, and even from a young age, I wanted to be like an electrical engineer. Like, I don't know how a little kid would know about being an electrical engineer, but I wanted to like build robots, So, my interests vary, and if you're interested in something and I'm talking to you, and you can teach me something about it, I'll listen, and I'm interested too, And just like I said, those things that like most people don't really give a second thought, just learning those things about it, those different things, that the way it works, or the way it was started. There's this one channel, I think it's, what is it? It's businessman or something like that. But he just kind of breaks down the story of how these different companies were created. Um, like the guy who started Five Guys, or um, whoever started Sam's Club. He did one on Dyson, the vacuum company. And a lot of these guys have similar stories. They come from humble beginnings, and they have ideas. And they don't stop until their ideas um, comes to reality. So I'm into that. I'm into how something it'll start here and then it ends up way bigger than they ever could have imagined. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Maybe I'll do one later this week. Maybe I'll record another one tomorrow and just kind of. It'd be good to have them stacked up. Like I said, I work through the week and not a whole lot of time, but it doesn't take long. I could sit down and do a half an hour one pretty easy, and it's kind of therapeutic in a way. I feel like even if nobody ever listened to this first one, I'm talking, and I think, I think it'll be a good thing. I'm excited. I got a long ways to go to get it to where I feel like it's on par with some of the stuff that I'm interested in, some of these different podcasts and stuff. But I also like a lot of stuff that's, it's more about the idea and what the person is saying than having a nice studio or, all that stuff. So, yeah, if you listened to the end of this, you are crazy, and I appreciate you. And yeah, hope to see you in the next one. Peace.